Canada is one of the most expensive countries when it comes to cell phone providers and cell phone plans. But everybody needs a cell phone plan. When you come to Canada, you need to find a provider that gives you a SIM card that fulfills your needs. And that's why you should watch this video where we're going to give you our advice from our own experience and our research to pick the right plan and save you lots of money.
And in this video, I'm going to tell you the worst telephone provider in Canada based in our experience. This is SCD Planner again, and we are here to help you aspiring international student with an easy and actionable guide towards your Canadian dream. So if you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe, and also if you like this content, make sure that you like this video. By the way, we have an event coming up this January 21st. Do not forget that, especially if you're thinking to pursue your master's degree in Canada. Visit our description box for more information.
So if you are about to come to Canada, study here, or just visit or be here as a temporary worker, you have probably looked up the country on a map already and realized that it's pretty large. In fact, Canada is the second largest country in the world by landmass, just after Russia.
And that's the main reason why cell phone service provider is so expensive in Canada.
Well, it's not the main reason, but it's definitely a big one. So when it comes to Canada, there are basically three big players in the cell service industry. These are Rogers, Bell, and Telus. There are a few other ones, but these are the big ones. And what's important to know is that these companies own the actual infrastructure, meaning the towers with the antennas on the top that distribute the cell signal and then provide the cell service to your cell phone. There are also a lot of smaller cell service providers that might also work very well if you're in one of the big cities, but when you're out in the country in the middle of nowhere, many times you're relying on one or two of the big three. Then there are lots of smaller cell service providers such as Lucky Mobile, Virgin Mobile, Kudo Mobile, and many more. These are also good if you are in a bigger city and if those providers work well in that city. Because it also depends in Canada in which part of the country you are. There may be providers in Alberta that you cannot find in Nova Scotia or the other way around. Just to help you on that, we have a link down in the description with a map that shows you which provider works well and covers which area.
And that's the main reason it is important for you to understand this, because you should know that small providers here are mostly renting or even just using the infrastructures of the big players in the cell service industry. So for example, Telus will always prioritize their customer over Kudo, who's using the same tower as Telus.
Right, and that is why if you're in a bigger city where there's lots of cell towers, those smaller companies might work very well, but if you're out in the middle of nowhere, there might be just one or two that really provide reliable service.
And that exactly what happened to my cell service. So before, I've been using different cell service now. So I use Lucky Mobile, Telus, I use Freedom Mobile. So I was using Freedom Mobile before, but when we moved to a smaller town, like we're here in the middle of nowhere, I didn't have any service. So I basically pay the internet, but I won't be able to use it because I do not have signal.
Yeah, it was a very expensive plan. It was the most expensive plan they offered.
One.
And it had a big data package of, I think, 30 gigabytes. And it was, the way it works was weird. They had 10 gigabytes on one network and then 20 on another network, and that one network worked in some cities and the other network worked in some cities. So where we moved to, only that network that provided 10 gigabytes was working. So once that's used up, you can't use the rest of your 20 gigabytes on your data plan.
Yeah, so now it is worth it to pay more on your subscription with Telus per se, instead of like getting a small service provider like Freedom. When we moved here, we switched to Telus, and it's a big headache if you're switching your provider and also switching your number.
Yeah, and I did some research on Freedom Mobile, and they're actually ranked one of the worst providers in the country. They are growing, but if you look on the coverage map, they only cover very small areas and they only cover the very big cities as of right now. Don't just get the cheapest plan that you can find. Check who provides coverage in your area and then compare the providers in that area. If you have a plan that's cheap but doesn't work, then it's useless. We have a link in the description to a website called RateHub where you can compare different cell phone plans in Canada.
Also, double check if there's like better deals. Don't stick with one subscription. So there's always like new coming up. So make sure that you double check that.
Yeah, that brings us to our next point. So you don't have to be on a 2-year plan. There's a lot of competitive month-to-month plans available in Canada. I think the only time when you need a 2-year plan is when you have a plan that provides a new phone with it.
Yes.
But if you don't get that, then don't get a 2-year plan. So if you're on a month-to-month plan, you can always check. If you find a better, cheaper provider, you can switch right away. And don't let the salespeople just sell you into one of their plans. Always go around and provide. The salespeople can be very, very penetrating because I think they make a commission based on the sales, and the more they sell, the higher, more expensive the plan is that they sell to you, the more money they make.
So I hope you guys like this video. If you're thinking to study here, make sure that you visit our website, studyliveexploreca.com. We have free downloadable guides for you aspiring students. And also, we have a free application day with University Canada West coming up this January 21st. Make sure that you attend that. Visit my description box so that you can register today. And once again, thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.